Most diets don't want you to know this, but there are 3 key stages to losing weight and keeping it off. And if you skip even one of them, then you are basically setting yourself up to rebound. You see, counting calories or following a meal plan might work for a bit, but unless you're addressing the real reasons behind why you gained weight in the first place, then you're setting yourself up for it to all come back on. This is what most diets don't offer. They give you some rules, they give you some rigid guidelines, maybe a points-based system, and they tell you to crack on. But they don't tell you why you keep turning to food for comfort every single night when the house goes quiet. And they don't explain why your motivation vanishes after week 2 and why you're stuck in this all or nothing mindset. So that is why understanding these 3 stages is everything. So let's start with stage number 1. And this is, why are you overweight? Now for me, there was a time that I couldn't stand being in my own skin. I would get dressed, I'd look in the mirror and I would barely recognize myself. So I'd snap and I'd tell myself, Phoebe, you just need to white knuckle your way to weight loss. You just need to be more disciplined. And for a while it would work. The weight would come off, I'd be feeling a little bit better and I would see that number on the scales go down until the novelty would wear off. You see, the second life got stressful or I screwed up in one small way, I would go straight back to what I was doing before I started the diet. And when I lost the weight for the last time and have kept it off ever since, it was because I was understanding what was actually happening. Why was I turning to food? And for me, this wasn't my meals. I ate pretty healthily and I moved my body. The issue was what was happening in between the meals. The I'll just have one bite moments that turned into me having the whole packet of Oreos. The emotional eating every single night after a long day at work. You see, for me, it wasn't about making my good days any better, any more perfect. It was about making my bad days less crap. So I got honest. I named that my issue was emotional eating, but then I peeled back the layers further. Why was I emotionally eating? What part of my life was causing me to seek comfort from food? And it was only when I addressed what that thing was for me that naturally I stopped turning to food for comfort as much, and then I lost weight as a result of that. So maybe you've named that your issue is snacking, for example. Get curious. Why? Is it because you're bored? Is it because there is always food within reach for you? Is it because your meals are never planned out, so you're just a constant picker? Or maybe it's because food is a distraction for you from a really, really hectic and stressful job. There's always a reason, and once you find yours, you can actually start to fix it with clarity. And 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be fixed by another classic diet or a new set of rules. It's going to be fixed by you giving yourself some empathy. And this leads me to stage number 2, which is losing the actual weight. Here's the thing, my emotional eating was not going to be solved from calorie restriction in a big way. And it definitely wasn't going to be fixed by me cutting out carbs or eliminating entire food groups from my diet. If anything, that would just make me more food driven, which was my story for years. I was stuck in that cycle of binging and restricting. It didn't matter how many rules I followed. If I hated the diet, I was going to be miserable, so I wouldn't stick to it. So when I lost the weight for good, I did things very, very differently. And this meant that yes, I started with calorie tracking, but it wasn't from a place of you need to eat as little as possible. It was from a place of awareness. For me, I knew I had to fit the foods that I really liked into my day, otherwise it wasn't going to be a long-term plan for me. And then when I was done with calorie tracking and felt like it was no longer serving me, I knew that I needed some form of structure in my diet. So I created a handful of go-to meals for breakfast and lunch. It wasn't chicken and broccoli punishment, it was just a way to reduce decision fatigue and make it easier to stay on track. And then I planned in joyful meals and snacks on purpose, because if I was going to keep this weight off for good, then I had to learn how to manage these foods without causing that screw-it cycle. And then I tracked more data than just the scale. I looked at measurements, how my clothes were feeling, progress pictures to keep me going when the scale fluctuated, and it did. And I built rules into my plan that kept me grounded. Rules like don't screw it up twice in a row. That one saved me because it gave me permission to be human without giving up entirely. It kept momentum going even when things weren't perfect, which created consistency. And maybe most importantly, I removed the deadline for myself. I stopped telling myself that by that day I had to weigh that much. Because it took the pressure off, and if I did get it wrong, which it happened, I'm human, I was able to stay consistent without feeling like I was screwing it all. And that's exactly what sustainable fat loss looks like, consistent choices done over time that actually feel doable. And now I come to stage 3, probably the most important but difficult, keeping the weight off for good. And this is the goal, right? Because no one wants to put in all of the effort to lose the weight for it to come straight back on. And this is why most of the clients here at Fat Loss Fundamentals come to me and my team, because they've lost the weight before, but it always came back on and they were stuck in this yo-yo dieting cycle. And here's the thing that I've learned: your ability to keep the weight off is directly linked to what you did to lose the weight. An easy example is that if you lost weight doing keto, where you eliminated all carbohydrates from your diet, but you actually like eating carbohydrates, then you're setting yourself up to rebound. Because the second you rightfully so want to bring back in some bread, some pasta, some potatoes, the weight's just going to creep back on. You see, that is not a discipline problem, even though it may feel like it. It is a method problem. And that is why these two clients here, Rachel and Linda, have both lost 45 and 65 pounds respectively and have kept it off for 6 months. And that's to date, by the way. It is going to be for the rest of their life. That is a guarantee, because they're still putting the work in. They've achieved this because we made weight loss fit their life, not the other way around. We kept in the foods that they loved. We created routines that worked even when life was chaotic. And we didn't chase perfection, but we did chase consistent, imperfect action. And when it comes to maintenance, here is a truth that a lot of people ignore. You still need to track something, not everything and not all the time, but there does need to be some data. Here are a few key markers that will help keep you anchored. Maybe it's stepping on the scales a couple times per month and knowing what your comfortable range is. You see, your weight will fluctuate depending on what season of your life you are in. Maybe at Christmas time, you are happy to put on a few pounds. Likewise, if you go on holiday over the summer, you might want to enjoy the foods that are on offer to you, and that is great. But if you feel yourself drifting, then you need to know that you have tools in your toolkit to bring yourself back on track. One of those tools might be intermittent calorie tracking. It's something that I still use when I know that my portion sizes are creeping up and I need to be reminded what a sensible portion of pasta looks like, not a Phoebe portion of pasta. Maybe another thing that you decide to track is how many steps you are doing, or how much sleep you get each night, because you know that when you're sleep deprived, you're more likely to hit the screw it button. And if you are feeling yourself drifting and putting some weight back on, then you might want to look at these habits. And here are a few more tips that might help you if you feel that you are drifting. Number 1, have some anchor meals like I touched on. 2 or 3 go-tos for breakfast, lunch and dinner that take the thought out of it. Number 2, a reset habit that you can go back to if you feel yourself going off track. It might be a really well-balanced meal. It might be a cold shower. It might be a hard workout at the gym to snap yourself back to reality. Another thing is to celebrate your consistency, not your size, because maintenance is a mindset, as cringy as that sounds. And finally, remember that success isn't about never gaining a few pounds again, because it probably will happen. But it is about how quickly and how calmly you can respond to that weight gain. You don't need to keep fighting your body forever. You just have to build a way of living that supports your long-term goals, and nailing these 3 stages will make that happen. And if you want more guidance on how to get started, then join the free 1 pound down challenge. The link is in the description of this video. 7 days worth of guidance from me to help you lose your first pound or more.